To the point, formative, entertaining, and protecting the Second Amendment. Welcome back to Elfster's Rifles and Reloading. And I am out in my garage here, and I'm putting together my shootingtarget7.com gong package here, at least getting it ready for the private range that you guys have been seeing lately in my latest videos. And they're 1/2 inch AR-500. I got the 12-inch, 8-inch, 4-inch, 2-inch, the rubber straps, and the studded T-post hangers. Everything I need to get that private range set up for a gong package. And it's gonna be pretty spectacular. I can't wait till you guys can check that out in my incoming videos. Especially over here, I have the shootingtarget7.com Know Your Limits target package, but on steroids for high power cartridges. And it's very similar to the rimfire Know Your Limits target system for shootingtarget7.com, which I'm sure some of you guys have seen in my Ruger Precision 22LR rimfire video series. But this is for high power cartridges, and it's going to be insanely awesome. I plan on banging this thing up with my friend Sean's RPR and 3'X8 Lapua. I'm going to hit it up with my 6.5 Creedmoor that has the Krieger barrel. And I have my Tikka T3X CTR 308, and I even plan on taking this out to 300 and 600 yards with all those firearms. We're going to test that out. We're going to bang this thing up, and it's going to be a really impressive video. And I'm sure you guys are going to look forward to that because it's not only portable, but it's affordable too. And I can't mention the price yet, but it's coming soon, so keep an eye out on that. And I even plan on taking this out to 300 yards with my Ruger Precision Rimfire 22LR, being that the first gong starts out at 8 and it drops an inch per. So it goes 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. 2 inches on the very bottom end. Well, 1 minute of angle at 300 yards is a little over 3 inches. It's 3.141. Well, the smallest gong on that is 2 inches. Well, that is definitely 7 away, and try and hit that with a 22LR rimfire. I don't care what rimfire it is, it's gonna be really challenging, especially with affordable ammo such as CCI standard velocity. But with all that being said, being that I'm out in the garage here, and this is actually a video that I've been wanting to do for some time, I actually have this fold down workbench in my garage because I only have 24 by 24 foot garage with 2 cars. I can't get a full size 4 foot by 8 foot workbench in here. So I actually built this Storeway 4 foot by 8 foot workbench that has fold out legs. And I'm going to show you how to make this. And it is super, super easy. And it's super easy to take down. So let me just take you through how I made this. I gotta make sure I pull this out first. And it's pretty slick, and it's really, really heavy duty. I mean, I'm a 230-pound dude, and this thing is really, really solid. And it's 4 foot by 8 foot, and you don't exactly need to be an expert carpenter to put this thing together. So let me just give you the quick lowdown of how to make this. Now, first things first, one thing I made sure to do is I wanted to use this as a table to rip plywood off of. I made sure when I mounted this fold-away workbench that I mounted it about 1/8 of an inch lower than the top of my table saw surface. So when I'm ripping plywood, I can just rip, you know, an entire 4x8 sheet right onto this thing just by myself. And if you're interested in doing something like this and you have a table saw, and hopefully it's a little bit better than this piece of crap, that's something you might want to keep in mind if you plan on doing this out in your garage. Now the size of this worktop surface is exactly 4 foot by, I think I made this a little less than 8 feet. So yeah, 95.5 inches, just in case some of these 1x4s had checked ends, I could cut them off. So it's damn near a full 4x8 platform. So at least for me, with the top surface, I just used some number 3 grade pine 1x4s. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 total 1x4/8s, number 3 grade pine. I wanted to use 1x4s just in case one of these got damaged or got nicked really hard with a saw. I could just pop that one board off and replace it. I didn't have to replace the whole surface with something like plywood. And then in the back here, I left a little bit of a slot. This is roughly 2.5 inches in the back. So I got the first 1x4 started so I could attach not only my strap hinges, but I left this little bit of a gap here so I could run extension cords through. So when I put my chop saw up here, I'm not fighting my extension cords. I could just feed them right through this little slot in the back, and it actually works really, really slick. Then obviously when I strategically placed my strap hinges wherever a stud was located in my garage. And then I also put extra blocking, which I'm about to show you here in a little bit, right underneath those locations of where those strap hinges were located. So just to give you a quick idea of what the end looks like. So I just, in essence, made a 2x4 box. You can see that this 2x4 runs long all the way to the back. So obviously this would be cut at 46.5 inches, and then I capped it off with a 2x4 to make a full 48 inches. And the location of the 1/2 inch lag bolt that I put through here with these humongous washers, I'm about to go over that in a little bit. And then I used a 1x4 and a 2x4. I just used my pneumatic nailer and popped that into place just to make sure that these legs don't swing out too far. So the legs, as they fold down, they hit these blocks here. So let me fold this back up and I'll show you what undercarriage looks like. So just to give you some quick measurements here, this top 2x4 here is 95.5 inches. Obviously, like I mentioned just before this clip, the side 2x4s are 46.5. And then obviously this bottom 2x4 here is 92.5, so obviously 3 inches less than the top board, because obviously a 2x4 is not a true 2 inches thick. They're 1.5 inches thick. 1.5 inches times 2 is 3 inches. So obviously you're going to deduct 3 inches off this bottom board in comparison to the top board. In regards to the middle boards here that actually construct the bench top, what you want to do is build the 2x4 legs with 2 2x4s and 1 1x4 in the middle. And I actually built these a little bit long, and I just temporarily pegged these together with a pneumatic finishing gun. And I built them a little bit long. And obviously you're going to want to make sure that you build this benchtop platform down on the ground and square it up. Make sure it's true. You want to check your diagonals to make sure that they're square. So you want to make sure each diagonal measures out exactly the same. So you want to go each diagonal, and once each diagonal measurement is the same, you know that it is square. And obviously I probably even put a carpenter square on the corners just to make sure it's completely square before you install these little joists of the benchtop platform itself. Now these are obviously, if the bench is 48 inches, you're going to deduct 3 inches off of the total. So these will be cut at roughly 45 inches. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 internal joists. You got 2 rims on each end. And then you got your top rim and the bottom rim to construct the platform itself. And then you can see where I strategically cut little chunks of blocking, so I had extra meat to screw these strap hinges into. And it's really that simple. There's really not much to it. And then at the top, all I did is I took 3 2x4s. Let me show you that quick. So at the top, I just took 3 2x4s and nailed them together. So each 2x4 is 1.5 inches. And then I just got 2 of these. I don't even know what you call these, but you can find these at any hardware store. And I got 2 of these just to hold that bench top surface up against the wall once I'm done using it and put it away for storage. And then the legs themselves for the hinges is a 1/2 inch carriage bolt. And I believe those are 8 inches long, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 8 inches. So they're 8 inch by 1/2 inch. And I didn't get true carriage bolts. These are hex style bolt. So I could really reef this down. And then I got 2 lock washers. I make sure that these are the lock washer style so they don't back off on you. And I double nutted it, so guarantee that these will not back off now. And then I also got 2 of these humongous washers, and those are 2-inch washers. So 1/2 inch hole, 2-inch washer. You're gonna need 2 of those. Actually 4, because you gotta do both sides. So 4 total 2-inch by 1/2 inch hole washers, 2 total 1/2 inch by 8 inch hex head style bolt. You're gonna need 4 total lock nuts, and that's about it. All right, so my neighbors are over here playing basketball, so you might hear them, but anyway. So you could see I had to put somewhat of a radius cut on the very top side of this leg, so it just misses the bench top surface. And just to give you a quick idea of what that leg looks like, it looks something like this. And this side here goes against the stop block. And what I actually did is, if I measure this down, so from the very top to the center of that 1/2 inch hole, I'm looking at roughly 7¼ inches. And then obviously it's centered on the 2x4. So not including the top surface, it would be 1¾ inches. So obviously use the quarters for both sides. So this 1/2 inch hole is centered in the middle of this 2x4. And then what I actually did, obviously the leg consists of 2 2x4s and 1 1x4, is I ran that long all the way through, and I got this mounted. I cut it off on the top. Then while this was mounted, I took a pencil and I rotated this to get the radius that I needed to cut off with a jigsaw. And I just temporarily put these boards together and drilled that hole all the way through on these 2 boards here, and obviously through the leg. And then, like I said, I ran it long, cut it off, and then I ran that bolt through, and then I took a pencil, and that will automatically give you the radius cut as you close the leg home. And then when you cut those boards for the radius, you might want to cut it on this side of the pencil line, not this side, so you can ensure that that radius cut of the leg just clears your 1x4 top surface. And also another quick note here, when you install this board here, and obviously the other one here, you're gonna wanna sandwich that leg really tight. I mean, damn near as tight as possible, because obviously you want some resistance on this, and you don't want it to wobble too much. So build the leg first, build it long, drill your hole, run your carriage bolt through, and then install this board. So you literally, as this platform is laying on the ground, you have the board in between these 2 boards. Pull this tight, and I screwed at least the main platform together, and I made sure that this board sandwiched the legs as tight as possible. Now you can notice I've used a 1x4 cleat board to take the brunt force weight of this top, so they're not completely on the hinges itself. This platform, once it folds down, it actually sits down on top of this 1x4. So before I mounted these hangers, I actually had a 1x4 cleat board mounted to the wall that my bench actually sat on, and then I mounted my strap hangers. So the brunt force weight of this platform sitting on this 1x4 cleat board, and the height that I determined that 1x4 cleat board would be is I measured the height of where my table saw would be located over here, measured that distance, I subtracted 1/8 of an inch off of that so I can make sure that the plywood doesn't bind up as it comes off my table saw and onto the tabletop surface. And then obviously I deducted the thickness of a 1x4, which is 3/4 of an inch, and obviously the width of a 2x4, which is 3.5. That obviously adds to 4¼ inches. So 4¼ inches plus 1/8 of an inch would be 4 3/8. So once you figure out the height of your table saw over here, deduct 1/8 of an inch, 4¼ inches, and that's where I started with my cleat board over here. And then I made sure that it was level. I made sure I didn't measure off the concrete on this side because this is a garage floor and that garage floor pitches down towards the front. So make sure you don't measure off the garage floor on this side. You want to make sure that this is level so your tabletop surface is level also. And you're going to watch this bench top just clear that cleat board when I fold it up. All right, so let's just quick over this guesstimated materials list here. So we got 13 total 1x4/8 number 3 grade pine. Right now they're running about $2 a piece. So we got 13 of them, so that's $26. So that'd be your bench top surface, the 13 total 1x4/8s. We got one 1x4/8, and that is for the cleat board. So the cleat board right here, that's another $3. I got one 1x4/8, and that's your leg sandwich board or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, that's the 1x4/8 you're going to cut in half for the sandwich of each leg. And then what else we got here? We got 6 2x4/8s. That's for the bench frame. They're roughly about $3 a piece, so 18 total. So obviously you got one at the top, one at the bottom, that's 2. You got another one you're going to cut in half for here and here, that's 3. This would be 4, 5, and then you got an extra one here. It's 5.5, so you're going to buy 6, and the extra half of 2x4/8, one chunk of 2x4/4, you're going to cut up for the blocking for your hinge attachments. So that is that part there. Obviously you're going to need 2 more 2x4/8s. You're going to cut in half, and that's for the 2 legs that you're going to run along and cut off that radius like I described earlier. What else we got here? We got 2 1/2" by 8" hex head bolts, the 4 1/2" hole by 2" washers, and 4 total lock nuts like I described earlier. I'm just guessing on these prices, but they should be pretty solid. And obviously that's for the leg hinge pivot attachment. We have the 4 strap hangers. I'm just guessing on these at roughly $3 a piece. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 total 2x4/8s, or you could get 1 2x4/12. I think I just get 3/8 just so you got an extra chunk of 2x4/4 that you're actually going to use for this 3-ply board at the top to attach your, I'm not sure what you call these, I'm going to call them pivot pins, but these 2 pivot pins, they'll lock this home once you fold it against the wall. Those 2 pivot pins are roughly $4 a piece. I'll probably just get 3 2x4/8, so you got a little bit extra 2x4 to play with. So I'm going to guess, and this is a guesstimation, don't hold this to me, and depends on the price of lumber and how lumber prices change, because that's obviously a commodity, but I'm going to guess it's going to be roughly about $85 to get this constructed. Now, if you guys are curious about the rest of this, my workbench, I actually got some pre-made 2x4 frames that you can purchase from Menards, and I actually cut them up into chunks. Actually, on the other side, I'm using the entire board, and I'll show that to you here. So these are actually 2x4 pre-made truss frames that I just took my pneumatic nailer and nailed it to the side of the stud. And this is actually one whole frame. You can see there's another frame here. And then I capped that off with a 2x4 and then also used 1x4s for the top of that. And that works really slick. And you don't have to worry about legs getting in the way if you want to store, obviously, like a lawnmower or snowblower underneath. And it works really slick, and it's really inexpensive. It didn't take me that long, especially with a pneumatic gun. And these are really, really cheap from Menards. Matter of fact, I'll splice in a picture of those right here. And what I did, at least over here, is I just made sure that this bench top surface here to help rip plywood is at the same height as this bench once I fold it down. And it, man, I tell you, it works ever so slick ripping plywood. You can rip plywood by yourself, and it is awesome. And I also made these quick little 2x4 and 1x4 shelves here for storing nails and such. And these are really easy to make too. They literally just consist of 3 1x4s. And you just take a 1x4 in the back, 2 1x4s in the bottom, cut up some little chunks or little blocks of 2x4. And you can make these little shelves that you can just attach right to the wall. And not only are they easy to make, but they're just really stupid cheap. And man, I tell you guys, it's just really slick. And it's something that you can do in your garage or maybe in your reloading room. And like I said, you don't have to be a master carpenter to get this done. Well, I hope this helps some of you guys out if you're in a cramped area like I am in this 24-foot by 24-foot garage. As a matter of fact, I will have this specific materials list in the description box below for this fold down workbench that not only you can use for your garage, but maybe even in your reloading room. So check out the description box. I'll have that materials list, and I'll even have a SKU number if you have a Menards close by for these frames. You can build additional shelving, and they're really, really easy. Hope you guys learned something here. Hope this helps you out. And if it did, scratch my back, and I'll continue to scratch your back with this content by not only subscribe, like, and share, hit that notification bell, become a Patreon, and I will see you guys in a very soon video sporting the shootingtarget7.com Know Your Limits target system on steroids, and obviously this gong package at the new private range. I'll see you guys in the next video.